I don't think Josef Newgarden's season is going as planned. Now, I'm a fan of Josef Newgarden. I have his little 1/18 scale diecast model. He's one of my favorite drivers in IndyCar, surely my favorite of the three at Team Penske. So this video isn't to be like, oh, he's falling off or like, he's overhyped. It's not like that. It's just to see like how his season has gone, because I think in the beginning he was very locked in and like he really said like, hey, like I'm really focusing on being at my very best, and then as the kind of season has unfolded, it just really hasn't really reflected that. Now obviously he is a two-time IndyCar champion in both 2017 and in 2019, and then he did obviously win the Indy 500 back-to-back in 2023 and then this year in 2024. So I don't know, I believe it was this season to where he unfollowed everyone from social media because like he wanted to focus on the season and he didn't want any distraction. So, that's not a big deal at all. It's one of the things that, he kind of said that like, hey, I'm really want to focusing in and I'm really trying to lock into the season and perform at my absolute best. So, sure, go ahead and unfollow everyone on social media because that could be a distraction, right? So start off at the first race of St. Petersburg, and obviously he runs away with the win. He had a big gap on the entire field and he's really locked in. The car's flying and things are looking great for him, right? And then we go to Long Beach. He qualifies P3 and then finishes P4 after a little stunt with Colton Herta that he kind of hits him in the back, makes him stall out, he loses some positions, and still we're off to a good start. It could have been better, but off to a good start. Then after that, a month later, right before the Alabama Grand Prix, which I went to, really good venue, I recommend you go, it is said that he was using the push-to-pass controversy happened and his results at St. Petersburg are disqualified. And he held, he didn't say anything on social media until the press conference at Alabama. And when he did that press conference, like it was a lot of head scratching because the way it unfolded for him per his perspective just didn't really match up with like what his other teammates were saying, right? He was saying that like, they truly believe that a procedure in the rules had changed and that we're allowed to push the pass and this, that. And then you have Will Power saying, yeah, like I don't know where he got that from. Like no one in the engineering ever talked about that. And it was just, it probably left more questions than anything in terms of what actually happened. And then, that's a whole other topic of like the controversy and what happened and Roger Penske and this that, like that's whole separate, but it did leave it more confused and not of what he said what happened versus what happened with the other drivers. And going into Alabama, like he just you could imagine that probably kind of messed up his mental clarity, and he didn't perform well at all at Alabama. He qualified P8, which isn't the worst, but then finished off P17. He just kept on making mistakes on track, and it led to a P17 finish. Then we go to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course, and again he qualifies good at P4, but through errors, through whatever, he ends up being P17 at the end of the race. So again, it's not like Josef Newgarden is even before the season started to where he was saying like, oh, people think I'm just good at turning left. Well, he was working on the off season to be better on road courses, and which is why he really went in there at St. Petersburg with that mentality of, oh yeah, like we're really gonna be good all around now, not just on ovals. So again, not that he has like he's not Alex Palou where he dominates the road courses or street courses. So it's not like he's supposed to be held to the high standard on road courses. But going into the season, he was like, yeah, we're performing better at road courses. So then we go to the Indy 500, and that plays out. I think that he was always a favorite to win, or he had higher odds to really be up there in the top three. So back to back, fantastic. Everyone's seen the race, the battle with Pato. It was fantastic. All props to him. And then you go right back to a street course in Detroit a week the next weekend, and he qualifies top three. Well, he qualifies P3, which is fantastic. Good job on you. And then through again more mistakes, more errors, more everything, he finishes P26. So next race at Road America, which I went to, it was a fantastic venue. I recommend you guys go to that one. He qualified P5, which is again fantastic, and the whole Penske team had a lockout top three. and he finished P2. Now during qualifying though, is in the round of Fast 6, he like sent his car straight into the wall, which is a pretty like scary crash to see. But that was like another mishap of like, you know, trying to go full throttle, fully send it, and he just puts his car in the wall. Luckily, you know, he didn't get injured, and that they were able to obviously fix the car. And you know, like I said, he finished P2 in the race. So that's good. Props to him. Fantastic. Now, then we go back to another road course. Laguna Seca qualifies P14, finishes P19. That was like, what was going on with him? Because even, you know, it's a lot of controversy of when he came out of the pits and they threw that yellow and he didn't have to cycle back through the field. So he ended up in P2. Like he should have cycled back out to like, I don't know, mid-pack or something. But because of the timing of the yellow flag, he came out, I think he came in like at P12. He came into the pits like at P12, let's say, and he came out of the pits at P2. So like if he would have played his card right and like actually capitalized on the timing of everything, he would have, you know, got a P2, P3 from that race. But just another error on a road course coming out of turn, I forget what it was. He just loses, he just blew it away again. That would have probably led to more conspiracies and more controversy. So probably best that he spun out and lost all those positions. But nonetheless, like he started bad. He had an opportunity to maybe capitalize and get a really good outcome out of that, and then kind of just blows it. So he finished P19 on that one. And then we go to Mid-Ohio, where he qualified P17, not the greatest, and then finished P19. Now again, ovals are his thing, right? He's very dominant in ovals. If you look at the Iowa races over the last 3-4 years, I think he's been the winner, and definitely has like good results there. So in Iowa, you know, in the first race, he was the biggest mover. He went from 22 to P3, which is not bad. That's good. But again, he is supposed to be dominant on ovals. That's what he does, especially at Iowa. He's won a lot of the races. So, you know, P3 is fantastic. Big mover of 22 positions. That's fantastic. But I think, you know, for Josef Newgarden, for him being the oval guy, especially at Iowa, you'd want him to be even a little higher. And then pretty mediocre results for race 2, which he started P14 and finished P7. Again, not that that's bad. That's, you know, to a lot of other drivers, that'd be great. But him being a guy that's his specialty are ovals, that he's dominant in ovals, that he's won a lot here at Iowa, you would really want him to see him to be up higher in the standings. And, you know, like, even though he's had some bad results on the road courses, I took a look and see what were his other results in prior years, and honestly, like it's not too far off from what he typically does. Like, I don't think right now he's having a championship leading season, right? Like, he's not having that kind of performance, but it's not like he's way off the wayside and like he's having the most terrible performance of his season, right, or of his career. So like at Barber Motorsports, right, he qualified P8 and finished P17 this year. In 2023, he qualified P7 and finished P15. Not much of a difference. 2022, he qualified P7 and finished P14. In 2021, he qualified P8 and finished P23. So just at that alone, that little small little sample size, he just doesn't have a good performance at Barber. It's a road course. It's just, you know, from this year to the last 3 years, he's basically on par with what he's done. Laguna Seca, right? He qualified P14, finished P19 this year. Last year he qualified P4 and finished P21. In 2022 was his one of his best drives at Laguna Seca over the last 4 years, where he qualified P25 and finished P2. And then in 2021, he qualified P17 and finished P7. So again, these, like, some are pretty good, but like they don't seem too far. It's not like the last 3-4 years he was top 5 each time, right? Detroit, again, he qualified P3 and finished P26 this year. And last year, I'm only going to keep it to last year because before that it was, you know, at the other track, at the other street course. So last year he qualified P5 and finished P10. And then we go to Mid-Ohio, which this one, he did have his best year in 2021, but this year he qualified P17, finished P25. Last year in 2023, he qualified P15 and finished P12. 2022 he qualified P14 and finished P7, and then in 2021 was his best result of he qualified in P1 and then he finished in P1, and then since Iowa, I'm going to look at just his Iowa 2 race because that was his lower performing race of the two this past weekend, to where he qualified P14 and finished P7, whereas last year in Iowa 2, on the second race, he qualified P7 and finished P1. And in 2022, he qualified P2, but finished P24. So I think, and this is just a small little sample size. Like, you can go in there and look at all the numbers and how many laps he's led. And, we're like that. I just wanted to kind of give us a quick little glimpse in terms of like, how is this his worst performing results of this season? How did that fare against some prior seasons? And again, he won his championship in 17 and 19. So, maybe we can look at those seasons and see how he performed. But I just, looking at over the last few years, just want to kind of gauge like where his performance is right now relative to his past other years. And, it's going. Again, he's not leading in the championships. Maybe he can get back up there if he really, really, puts the gas down and gets some great results over the next 5 races that are left. And you have to kind of hope that the other drivers kind of fall down in the ranks quite a bit. So I wouldn't say it's a terrible season in terms of what he's done. I think it's like an average season, and you have your highs and you have your lows, and I think that's what's happening right here. If you ask most drivers, like, I think he's much happier, or if you could ask any driver, you'd want to win the Indy 500 and the series championship, right? But I think most drivers would say that you'd rather win the Indy 500 than to be an IndyCar champion. Now, Alex Palou has said he'd rather win the championship than to be an Indy 500 winner. Take that for what it is. So is he going to be like, is this the worst performance of his season? Of his career? I don't think so. So right now he's P9 in the driver standings. He's 132 points down from Alex Palou. And Alex Palou is, on the ovals, he's looking strong. And, you have 2 more road courses, or road and street courses where he's going to be dominant in how he typically is. So, is this another Alex Palou? Can Newgarden really push his way up there and be competitive? It's yet to see. So anyways, that's just my little synopsis of a season. With the hybrid system coming into play at Mid-Ohio, maybe that's going to change some things up in the ovals and Iowa. That was pretty boring for the most part. And for me personally, like, I'm a fan of Josef Newgarden. He's one of my favorite drivers, but I also like to see him lose. Not because I'm like there's hate or I'm against him, but I just like seeing other drivers, specifically at smaller teams, win. Like, I'm okay with the Penske's and the Ganassis and the Andretti's losing, because I'd rather see like the Meyershank Racings or the Juncos or the or any other team win, right? Because it's always the same team, same drivers winning. I'd like to just if a Grosjean were to get P2, I'd be happy with that. If a Felix Rosenqvist gets a podium, I'm happy with that. So not that I'm against Newgarden. I'd be happy if he wins, but I also like seeing other drivers win, just to kind of really show that IndyCar is a competitive series that anyone can win. Because if you look at all the past races, seasons, championships, it comes from the same 3 teams and the same drivers for the most part. So that I just like, as much as I'm a fan of Newgarden, I also have I'm okay with him losing too, because I like seeing other people win. So anyways, let me know what you think about Newgarden's season so far. Do you think he's doing good? Do you think he could do better? Let me know what you think in the comments down below.